Understanding relationships involves exploring how to grieve their loss, renew them, and reflect on the narratives we tell ourselves about others and ourselves. These stories can guide us toward what aligns with our well-being or steer us away from it. In this discussion, we delve into how the emotions we feel around certain individuals serve as a reliable indicator of their compatibility as partners. Often, we overlook critical signals, both positive and negative, by failing to tune into these emotions. The conversation also highlights strategies to enhance communication, discern whether criticism is constructive, and navigate the evolving dynamics of relationships influenced by texting and technology. By focusing on personal agency and what we can control, we can better manage these challenges. Additionally, the discussion touches on accessing greater vitality and joy in life, emphasizing that many people resist change due to the comfort of familiar circumstances. This reluctance often hinders progress toward a more fulfilling life. This exploration offers valuable insights for understanding personal needs and achieving happiness within or outside a relationship. It encourages self-reflection and practical steps to foster healthier connections and personal growth. Relationships, childhood, and unfinished business. Understanding and managing relationships is a deeply personal journey that involves several layers of introspection and growth. It requires us to reflect on how to cope with the loss of a relationship, find ways to rebuild or renew connections, and examine the narratives we tell ourselves about who we are and how others fit into our lives. These internal stories shape our perceptions and decisions, often influencing whether we move toward what truly fulfills us or away from it. Emotions play a crucial role in this process. The way we feel when we are with certain people can be one of the clearest indicators of whether they are well suited for us. Unconscious mind, hurtful parent, and familiarity, role of therapy. Our unconscious mind plays a significant role in shaping many of the decisions we make, particularly in relationships. Often without realizing it, we are drawn to people who reflect unresolved dynamics from our past, especially those rooted in childhood experiences with our parents or caregivers. This tendency doesn't always follow traditional labels like mom or dad, or adhere strictly to gender roles. For instance, if a woman had a father who was emotionally unavailable, aggressive, or struggled with addiction, she might unconsciously seek out romantic partners who exhibit similar traits. However, if her mother displayed those behaviors instead, she might still be drawn to partners with those characteristics, even though her attraction is directed toward men in a heterosexual context. This pattern highlights how deeply ingrained these dynamics are. People often wonder why someone with a loving and supportive parent still ends up in unhealthy relationships. The answer lies in the fact that the pain caused by a hurtful parent often leaves a more profound emotional imprint than the comfort provided by the nurturing one. Our minds and bodies tend to focus on what hurt us the most because those unresolved wounds demand attention and resolution. As a result, we may unconsciously seek out partners who mirror the traits of the parent who caused us pain, as if trying to fix or resolve those early experiences through our adult relationships. This is where therapy becomes invaluable. Many people are unaware of how their past influences their present choices. They believe they are fully in control of their lives, but fail to recognize that unresolved emotional patterns from childhood are often driving the car. Therapy acts as a mirror, helping individuals uncover these hidden forces and understand why they keep repeating certain patterns, whether in relationships, careers, or other areas of life. Gut instinct, change behavior, danger, productive versus unproductive anxiety. A powerful metaphor for this phenomenon is a prisoner shaking the bars of a cell, desperate to escape, while failing to notice that the sides of the cage are open. The familiarity of confinement feels safer than the uncertainty of freedom. Choosing freedom means stepping into uncharted territory and taking full responsibility for one's life. While childhood circumstances may have been beyond our control, adulthood offers us choices, but those choices can be terrifying because they come with accountability. It's easier to stay within the confines of what we know than to risk failure or face the fear of not having the tools to navigate an unfamiliar path. This dynamic is also why people often feel intense attraction to partners who are ultimately wrong for them. At first, these connections feel magnetic and exciting because they mimic unresolved emotional experiences from childhood. This emotional pull creates a sense of chemistry, but it's rooted in recreating old wounds rather than fostering healthy bonds. For instance, someone might repeatedly choose partners who are unreliable or emotionally distant because it mirrors their relationship with a parent who was inconsistent or neglectful. On the other hand, people often struggle to feel attracted to individuals who treat them well and offer stability. A partner who is reliable, kind, and consistent may not evoke the same emotional intensity because their behavior doesn't trigger those familiar patterns of conflict or longing. This lack of spark can feel unexciting or even threatening because it challenges deeply ingrained beliefs about what love should feel like. Therapy plays a crucial role in breaking these cycles. It helps individuals uncover unconscious patterns and understand why they are drawn to certain types of people or situations. By bringing these dynamics into awareness, therapy allows people to make conscious choices when they encounter people who are kind, reliable, and emotionally supportive. They often say there's no chemistry because those relationships lack the emotional intensity they associate with love. This pattern stems from unresolved childhood experiences. Without realizing it, these individuals are trying to recreate and fix their past by seeking out relationships that feel familiar. They may not consciously recognize this, but their attraction to certain types of people is tied to their emotional history. For instance, if someone grew up with a parent who was inconsistent, sometimes present and loving, other times distant or neglectful, they might be drawn to partners who evoke those same feelings of uncertainty. They might find themselves saying things like, "I don't know why he doesn't call when he says he will," or "I never know where I stand with him." These feelings mirror the confusion and longing they experienced as children. On the flip side, when these individuals meet people who are dependable and treat them well, they often feel a lack of excitement or connection. This isn't because these partners aren't attractive or interesting. It's because their predictability and stability don't trigger the same emotional reactions tied to past wounds. A frictionless relationship where someone does what they say they'll do and communicates openly can feel unfamiliar and even unsettling. Without the emotional highs and lows they're used to, these relationships might seem dull or uninteresting at first. Therapy can help break this cycle by bringing these unconscious patterns into awareness. Through self-reflection and guidance, individuals can begin to understand why they're drawn to certain types of people and recognize how these choices are tied to their past. Over time, they can reframe their idea of what love and attraction should feel like. Instead of being drawn to partners who evoke chaos or uncertainty, they can start valuing qualities like cons. Through self-reflection and guidance, individuals can begin to understand why they're drawn to certain types of people and recognize how these choices are tied to their past. For example, someone might initially feel a spark with partners who are unreliable or emotionally distant, but find no attraction to those who treat them with respect and care. As therapy progresses, they can learn to appreciate qualities like consistency, kindness, and emotional availability in a partner. Over time, therapy helps individuals reframe their understanding of love and attraction. Instead of being drawn to relationships that evoke chaos or uncertainty, they begin valuing connections that offer stability and mutual respect. By the end of the therapeutic process, many people find that their preferences shift. They may still notice an initial pull toward partners who resemble old patterns, but no longer feel compelled to pursue those relationships. Instead, they become more open to healthy partnerships that align with their values and needs. This transformation highlights the importance of self-awareness and healing. Breaking free from old patterns allows individuals to choose relationships that nurture them rather than perpetuate cycles of pain. It's not about settling for less excitement, but about redefining what connection and fulfillment truly mean. Therapy provides the tools to navigate this journey, helping people step out of the shadow of their past and into relationships that genuinely support their growth and happiness. Ultimately, therapy empowers individuals to recognize their worth and make conscious choices about their relationships. By understanding their emotional triggers and learning how to prioritize their needs, they can build connections that bring joy and stability into their lives while leaving behind the unhealthy patterns that once held them back. Sometimes, the way people speak about their partners reveals a lot about the dynamics of their relationship. Ultimately, relationships thrive when both partners make consistent efforts to invest in each other emotionally. Small acts of kindness, thoughtful words, and moments of gratitude go a long way in creating a foundation of trust and affection. By focusing on what truly matters and letting go of minor irritations, couples can cultivate a healthier and more fulfilling relationship that stands the test of time. People often approach relationships with the unrealistic expectation that they can find a partner who embodies the best qualities of everyone they've ever admired. They imagine creating a perfect person by combining traits, someone ambitious yet emotionally available, driven yet laid back, and so on. However, this idealized vision ignores the complexity of human nature. For instance, a highly ambitious individual might not always have the time or emotional bandwidth to be fully present in a relationship, while someone who is more easygoing might not share the same level of drive. These traits often exist in balance, and trying to piece together an ideal partner from different qualities can lead to dissatisfaction. This mindset can also lead people to compare their current partner or potential partners to an imagined alternative. They might think, if only my partner were more like this or less like that, as though they could customize someone to meet all their needs. But relationships don't work that way. People come as they are, with strengths and imperfections, and it's up to us to decide whether we can accept them as a whole. This doesn't mean settling for someone who isn't right for you. It means recognizing that no one is perfect and focusing on what truly matters in a partnership. A common issue arises when people fixate on what they perceive as missing in their relationship rather than appreciating what's already there. This can lead to dissatisfaction and even infidelity as individuals seek out others who seem to possess the qualities they fee. It's not that people don't think or feel outside of therapy, it's that they use those thoughts and feelings differently in the real world, ideally taking new actions based on what they've learned. Sometimes, people are encouraged to challenge their instincts entirely. While conventional wisdom often advises us to trust our gut, this isn't always sound advice. For some individuals, their gut reactions are shaped by past experiences and familiar patterns that may not serve them well. These instincts often represent what feels comfortable because it's familiar, not necessarily what's best for them. In such cases, doing the opposite of their first impulse can be transformative. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but stepping into discomfort is often where growth happens. The idea of challenging one's gut instincts can be likened to creating new pathways in the brain. Imagine your habitual responses as a well-worn freeway, a route you've traveled countless times that feels automatic and easy. However, if this freeway consistently leads you somewhere unhelpful or harmful, it's time to build a new road. This means consciously choosing a different path, the side road, even if it feels unfamiliar or difficult at first. Over time, as you repeatedly take this new route, it becomes more natural and automatic, eventually replacing the old freeway as your default response. This process requires effort and patience because the old freeway doesn't disappear overnight. It takes repeated practice to reinforce the new path while allowing the old one to fade from disuse. The goal is not to silence your instincts entirely, but to refine them, to distinguish between impulses rooted in past patterns and those aligned with your present goals. Some people might argue that their gut instincts protect them from danger, which is true in certain situations. However, there's a difference between genuine danger and perceived discomfort. Often, what feels dangerous is simply the discomfort. For instance, if minor mistakes were treated as major crises in their childhood home, they might overreact to small issues as adults, Conversely, if significant problems were downplayed or ignored during their upbringing, they might fail to recognize when something is truly wrong. As a result, they may stay in situations that others would immediately identify as harmful or intolerable. For some individuals, what feels safe isn't necessarily good for them, it's just familiar. Their instinct is to stick with what they know because stepping into the unknown feels threatening. This is why certain people remain in toxic relationships or unfulfilling situations. The discomfort of change seems scarier than the misery of staying put. Ultimately, learning how to recalibrate your internal sense of safety and danger is crucial for personal growth. It requires listening to that quiet inner voice, the one that whispers early warnings, rather than waiting for a full-blown alarmist to go off. Taking risks doesn't mean being reckless. It means stepping outside your comfort zone in ways that align with your values and goals. Sometimes the path that feels uncomfortable at first is the one that leads to true progress and fulfillment. By challenging old patterns and embracing calculated risks, you can create new pathways for success and happiness in your life. It's about finding balance, knowing when to push forward despite fear, and when to step back for self-preservation. In doing so, you can break free from limiting beliefs and build a life that reflects your true potential. Some people struggle to recognize when their internal thermostat for danger or discomfort is miscalibrated. They may perceive situations that are unhealthy or harmful as normal because their past experiences have shaped their sense of what feels right. For example, if someone grew up in an environment where small mistakes were treated like major crises, they might overreact to minor challenges as adults. Some people wonder whether they need to truly understand themselves before entering a relationship, while others seem to grow and thrive within the context of a partnership. For instance, there are couples who met during their first year of college, built their lives together, and remain deeply connected decades later. Their shared experiences, like starting careers, raising children, and facing life's challenges, have created a commingled life story that strengthens their bond. On the other hand, there are those who take time to explore multiple relationships or spend years on their own before finding someone who feels like the right match. Both paths can lead to happiness, but the question remains, how important is self-awareness before committing to a relationship? When examining the factors that contribute to a successful relationship or marriage, emotional maturity stands out as the most critical. Flexibility is another key trait. Being with someone who is rigid, whether in practical matters or emotionally, can make a relationship challenging. Rigidity might manifest as needing everything to be done a certain way, like insisting toothpaste must always be placed on the right side of the sink, or having inflexible beliefs about what's right or wrong in terms of behavior and communication. In contrast, flexibility allows partners to adapt to life's inevitable changes and accommodate each other's evolving needs. Relationships require room for growth because people are not static. While core aspects of an individual's personality may remain consistent, life circumstances and personal development often lead to change. A successful partnership involves three evolving entities: you, your partner, and the relationship itself. If one partner insists that everything stay exactly as it was at the beginning, it can create tension and hinder growth. As for whether someone needs to spend time alone before entering a relationship, there's often a misconception that knowing oneself, relationships, flexibility, shared history. Ultimately, waiting until you feel ready or fully self-aware before pursuing a serious relationship isn't always necessary. Many people learn more about themselves through the process of being with someone else than they ever could on their own. While spending time alone can help you understand your values and priorities, relationships often push you to grow in ways that solitary reflection cannot. The key is balancing self-discovery with openness to connection. Whether you're single or partnered, life is an ongoing journey of growth and change. By approaching relationships with emotional maturity and flexibility, and by being willing to learn about yourself through your interactions with others, you can build meaningful connections that support both individual and shared evolution. Personal growth often happens faster when we're in relationships because they provide a mirror that reflects aspects of ourselves we might not see otherwise. While self-reflection and solitary thinking can be valuable, they lack the feedback and interaction that relationships bring. Without external input, it's easy to stay stuck in your own thoughts without truly challenging or evolving them. I completely agree with this idea, as most of my personal development has occurred through interactions with external circumstances, whether in relationships, jobs, or situations that didn't feel right. For example, moving on from jobs that weren't a good fit taught me valuable lessons about what I wanted and needed. Similarly, relationships that didn't work out provided essential insights into my own patterns and preferences. There's a lot to be learned from what doesn't work, as it often reveals the areas where change and growth are needed. This concept ties into the idea of loss and grief as well. When we experience loss, whether it's the end of a relationship or another significant life event, it forces us to confront aspects I